What is good, defenders, and welcome to your favorite pre-match episode or pre-match podcast. There we go. Pre-match podcast here on Defenders of the Bank. You know what time it is. If it's the night before a match, it's time for one more sleep, and we're going to do it one more time from the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. You know my voice. It's the Scarf. J.R. Liebert coming to you from in front of the Scarf Wall and live from world famous Philomonster Studios. It is a relatively platinum haired, if I do say so myself, Christian Philly Philemon. Now, he is known as the platinum haired Flamengo, not to be confused with Flamengo, the team that we're playing tomorrow.
I appreciate the clarification. You are oh so right. Flamingo and Flamengo are two completely separate things. Yes, defenders, live, but barely alive, as one more sleep I can hardly wait to go to sleep. It's been one of those days, but here we are to give you that information, that 411 that you crave the night before a match. Scarf, we're taking on a team from the beautiful city of Rio de Janeiro, established in November 17th of 1895. Rio, known for its stunning beaches like the Copacabana, Ipanema. We got Christ the Redeemer up on top of the mountains. You got Samba, you got Carnival, you got all kinds of fun things and a lot of big clubs. I bring up Christ the Redeemer for a reason, Scarf, because Christ the Redeemer is exactly what LAFC needs to come out of the Club World Cup with their heads held up high. The blessings from above, because to get a win against a club like Flamengo, they are going to need Jesus Christ himself as they are about to embark upon their last level of hell. And I don't just mean the competition against Flamengo. I also mean playing in Orlando this time of year. 90 degrees, essentially, with over 80% humidity. Yuck. That is what I consider hell above hell in all scenarios.
Listen, this club founded their soccer portion anyway, founded on Christmas Eve in 1911, and they play at the iconic Maracanã. Are you kidding me?
They were a rowing club in 1895. You're right about that.
Absolutely. This stadium, the Maracanã, once held 150,000 plus before they put seats instead of terraced berms. We're talking 26 times in this club's history the Maracanã has held 150,000 people. The Flamengo-Fluminense rivalry has once generated 170+ thousand people, the largest crowd to ever watch a world record soccer match. Absolutely unbelievable. And they're moving to a new stadium in 2029.
Yep.
Look, this is one of the most iconic clubs in the world. I mean, Philly, I know you and I both did our research and we're both going to talk about it, but how about the most followers on social media of any non-European club? 50 million. 50 million total followers. Brazil's richest club. But my favorite part, Philly, my favorite part out of all of it is one of their nicknames is Urubu, which is the vulture. And their training ground is known as the Vulture's Nest. Like, I just love all of it. I'm here for every single bit of it.
I'm not sure where you got.
Did we just
4
There he is.
million. Hello, you there?
Yeah, I think you cut out for a quick minute. Say what you said again.
Yeah, so what I was saying is I'm not sure where you got your info from, because the info I got across all social media platforms is 66.4 million. They're in the top 15 most followed clubs in the world. But yes, you are right. The first non-European club that cracks that list. They, without a doubt, the most followed in Brazil, not necessarily the most successful in Brazil. Obviously, you've got the likes of Palmeiras to combat that, but still a club with a great deal of history, a great youth academy that's produced some fantastic players. One of them plays over at Real Madrid right now, vicious Vinicius Jr., and the players that they had that have competed their Scarf, Romario, Bebeto, Zico, obviously Ronaldinho in 2011. I mean, so many unbelievable players have worn that red and black kit. This is a club that is as big as it gets on the global scene, and a club that has had history of success in Brazil, no question about that, with their 7 campeonatos in Brasileiro Serie A. But they were also FIFA Club World Cup runners-up in 2019. So another thing to take note on, this is not going to be an easy contest.
Not going to be an easy contest is an understatement. The bottom line, since they brought in 39-year-old head coach, Philly, 39-year-old Felipe Luis, who, oh, by the way, was one hell of a baller at left back in his career. How about 333 matches for Atletico Madrid, 176 matches for this club, Flamengo, including playing in both the 2020 and 2023 Club World Cups with Flamengo. All he's done in 47 matches as the top guy, Philly, is he's lost 3. He's allowed 24 goals in 47 matches as a manager. This guy, Felipe Luis, is as good as it gets as a coach. They're 7-1-3 in their league right now, Philly. And in those 11 matches in league play, they've allowed 4 goals and scored 24. If they come out with a true starting 11, which I actually don't think they will.
I don't think so
either.
If
they come out with a true starting 11, Philly, we're in trouble.
In trouble, no question about it. Oh, and yes, you talk about the career that he's had. Also spent a year at Chelsea, although he didn't get the burn that he got there as compared to some of the other clubs. But he completes his senior career at Flamengo. Let's not forget 44 caps with the Brazilian national team as well, over a decade between 2009 and 2019. And what a rise. He went like in the same exact year, 2024, from Flamengo's U17 to working with the U20s to now all of a sudden being here in the United States with the FIFA Club World Cup, representing this team, a team with scarf. We talk about our ambitions being great in the business world. Flamengo, an annual revenue of 1.2 billion, just ridiculous amounts of money. The valuations over across, and obviously these are different currencies we're talking here, but just so much. There's just a lot of money there. And I know Steve in a press conference talked about how money is a factor. And while I agree with him, money wasn't necessarily a factor when it came to Esperance, and they still whooped our butts. So just wanted to throw that in there as well.
No, you're absolutely right. Look, since we've talked about it for the first 2 matches, the transfer market value,
218 million euro was the annual revenue. The 1.2 billion was not the currency, US dollars, just to clarify.
Sounds good. A club worth, according to Transfer Market, 221 million euros, led by their captain Gerson with 25 million. Of course, LAFC worth 46 million euros. If you want to look at those things, that can be kind of important. Philly, the Rubro Negro, Scarlet and Black, they're the club of Pele's idol, Zizinho. I mean, that tells you something about if Pele looks up to one of the players that have played. You mentioned Zico and Junior. I mean, this is one of the iconic clubs, not just in Brazil, but in the world. And they have already won Group D. We mentioned that I don't think we'll see a full starting 11. They have already won Group D. It doesn't matter what Chelsea does to Esperance. They have already won Group D. And now Chelsea, by the way, has to beat Esperance in order to move on. Let's be honest here. It depends on what the score is, but Chelsea's got to win. I think they can also move on with a draw because of goal differential and such, but not something I think Chelsea wants to leave in the hands of Esperance. They beat Esperance 2-0, did Flamengo, allowing 2 whole shots on target. And then they beat Chelsea 3-1 after falling down 1-0. They roared back to score 3 unanswered and allowed 4 shots on target to Chelsea. So if this club has allowed 2 to Esperance and 4 to Chelsea, we got to hope that they rest some guys so that we can bring our shooting boots. And look, as JLA said, all we can play now for is honor on the world stage. I absolutely agree that the showing that we put out there tomorrow, Philly, is all about the pride that our club has for finishing strong.
I completely agree. And to your point, I don't envision them playing all their best players. You want to avoid injury. You want to avoid fatigue. Obviously, you want to avoid yellow cards in scenarios where players can not would accumulate enough to not play in the next game in the knockout stages. So I don't think we're going to see the best from Flamengo. But that being said, it's not as if they're a team that has really that many slouches in their 18 either. I do think we'll probably see some of their best players to begin the game because, after all, there are a lot of fans that have taken the trip from Brazil, and the Brazilian fans from Botafogo, Palmeiras, any of those teams that have come out and played, their fans have really gone out there. And from what I heard in that press conference with Steve, apparently there's about 200,000 Brazilians living in Central Florida. So this is very much going to be a home game for Flamengo against LAFC tomorrow in Orlando, of all places. The Brazilian supporters traveled, no question about that. So the club will probably want to reward them with seeing some of these all-star caliber players. But I don't think they're going to be long for the game, even if it does get competitive. And believe it or not, I do believe LAFC is going to make it a competitive endeavor because Flamengo's got nothing to lose. We've got nothing to lose, and we do want to go out there with our heads held up high. So it's not as if we're going to start a B squad on our front either. We at least need to score a goal or two to maintain some respectability. And as LAFC has done time and time again, they play up to the level of their competition. And Flamengo, without question, is one of the best teams in the FIFA Club World Cup. They could go very far. So an impressive and strong performance against them will be a nice momentum carryover coming back to MLS play.
Yeah, look, they've got 4 players coming in on yellow card watch, and 2 of those are strikers. I'd be really surprised if we see Bruno Henrique or Gonzalo Plata for any large stretch of time. Their captain, Gerson, is also on yellow card watch. So I would be really surprised if we see any of those guys. And maybe, just maybe, Agustin Rossi, their keeper, gets a bit of a rest between the pipes. Maybe they let somebody else go play goal. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do. They also want to finish strong and stay in form. I mean, this club they have aspirations. And like I said, I think 3 of the pundits that I was reading their different predictions for the 2025 Club World Cup, I think 3 of the pundits said that they're going to make the final at least, if not win the whole thing. I think they were predicted by one pundit to win the whole thing. So this is a club. We mentioned Agustin Rossi in goal. Philly's going to talk about their number 10. I mentioned their captain Gerson already, but the other player, look, it's not my player to watch. But if I could watch center back Danilo, the 33-year-old Brazilian, who is just unreal. I saw Danilo play an awful lot for Juventus. He played 60 matches for Manchester City, 56 for Real Madrid. The guy has played at the top levels for the last decade or so. He's in his first season with Flamengo. Just so many great players to watch up and down this roster.
Jorginho, baby. I mean, a lot of people will remember him during his time, whether it be at Serie A, playing with the likes of Napoli, spent a great deal of time playing over at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea, spent a couple of years playing at Arsenal, really just got going at Flamengo, got 2 starts in their FIFA Club World Cup match. Here's a guy that, was born in South America, but moved to Italy as a young kid. He played about 57 caps for your Azzurri. So that's a player I know that you're going to be stoked to see. I mean, he's almost about to crack the 40-year mark as well. What a career he's had. The cool thing, and I'll admit, I haven't been one to really watch the Brasileiro Serie A, but a lot of these clubs, obviously as massive as they are, we mentioned Botafogo, Palmeiras, you talked about Pele, his club, Santos, another historic club. I like how a lot of these players that have started their youth careers, gone overseas, and somehow made their way back to play with their club teams that they started out with. It's a cool story, a cool 180, and clearly a very competitive league. They've made a very nice argument as to why this should be one of the top 5 leagues in the world to really pay attention to. And with the likes of all the streaming services and platforms that we now have, the Paramount Pluses, all this stuff, we do have the option to watch this amazing top flight of football, but I really enjoyed it. I went to that Botafogo PSG match. The support that Botafogo had, oh my God. I mean, it was so cool to watch them singing out front. They were just so excited to be there. Nothing but positive experiences across the board. And this should be an interesting one. Like I said, it'll be a home game for Flamengo. The amount of Brazilians living down in Central Florida, but hey, we'll see. Crazier things have happened. Maybe LAFC pulls this one off.
No, I hear you. Let's get into our players to watch so we can start to worry more about Flamengo, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
All right. Philly, just letting you know, I cheated. So here we go. Players to watch for LAFC.
My God. I don't ever want to hear you talk trash again. I might pick one or two. You pick the entire team? Have I done that before? Maybe I have, but now you have too. So I don't ever want to hear your yang.
I picked the offense because I don't know where or if it's going to come in this match. I don't know. Philly, it obviously has been the most disappointing thing in this entire tournament that LAFC has not scored. That is without a doubt to me, if you go up and down the different results in terms of expectations and everything else, the fact that LAFC hasn't even scored, the fact that LAFC could barely get shots on target against Esperance, let alone shots in the back of the net, has been beyond disappointing. So I'm watching to see if the offense travels to the House of the Mouse there at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. I don't know, Philly.
Because nothing says Florida quite like camping.
Right? I just don't know what's going on with this offense right now, and it's terrifying. A player who we're actually a little familiar with on Flamengo is Luis Araujo.
Yes, Atlanta United.
Absolutely. Played against LAFC in 2023, got the start. Can I just tell you who was on our bench for this match? How about Tony Leone, Julian Gaines, the immortal Danny Crisostomo, Stipe Buke, and a player who subbed on later in the match would be one number 10, Carlos Vela. The backup keeper in that match that Luis Araujo played in would be one Eldin Jakupovic. It was
Chattanooga, I think, right now.
Yeah, John McCarthy started in goal. I mean, it was just an interesting mess of a match with Mahala Opoku and Eric Duenas starting in that one as well. It was a 0-0 draw, by the way. 0-0, as they like to say across the pond. Luis Araujo is a very talented striker and a player who I think will be a lot of fun to watch, and a player who I think will get a lot of minutes because of the amount of yellow card players on Flamengo that play up top. I mentioned the two already between Plata and Enrique. I don't think that they are going to see much of the pitch, so I think it will be Luis Araujo. And I like him as a player. It's going to be fun to watch. We've seen him once before.
All right. You know, it's funny. Some of these names you mentioned, Bruno Henrique, Araujo. There's so many Brazilians that play in the Major Arena Soccer League, and they have all these exact names. The Bruno Henrique, I know, played for the Florida Tropics for a number of years. Araujo plays in St. Louis. I hear these names, and I just harken back to MASL. It's just wild stuff. For my players to watch on the LAFC side, believe it or not, I'm going to go with Timothy Tillman. Timothy Tillman has fallen out of favor with a lot of the LAFC fans as of late, and I can't necessarily say I blame anybody's judgment on that. He's hit or miss on a lot of occasions. But considering that this is going to kind of bleed into my keys to the game, we need a big game from our midfielders, and in particular him, because Flamenco's got a lot of good midfielders that are going to look to try to maintain possession and go out on the attack. This will tie into my player to watch on Flamengo, but I do think Tillman needs to put in a really good performance for us to have a good control of this match. As far as the way you talk about sibling rivalries, you look at the success that his brother Malik has had playing for the U.S. men's national team, 3 goals over the course of the last 3 games, being linked to going to the Bundesliga. I mean, there was talk about Bayern maybe buying him back for about 35 million euro, but of course, Bayer Leverkusen now without Florian Wirtz, maybe they're eyeing him as the successor. That's a possibility. So I do think Tillman needs to have a big game, and also to show a response to his brother, to say, hey, look, I could play too. I just think that his brother's success might be just the extra bit of push and motivation to have Timmy Tillman play a great game for LAFC. And as far as Flamengo's concerned, I have to go with the Uruguayan, whether he's going to be playing as an attacking midfielder or not. I don't know whether he's starting or not. I don't know, but he has scored in this FIFA Club World Cup, and he has started both games. I'm talking about his full name, Georgian Daniel de Arrasqueta Benedetti, otherwise known as Georgian de Arrasqueta. The Uruguayan has had a stellar career playing with Flamengo, has been a part of that team since 2019, one of their best players. Obviously, a lot of the offense flows through him. He's had a hell of an international career as well, playing nearly 60 times for the Uruguay national team dating back to 2014. This kid is a baller. And obviously with a team that's possession-based, he's going to be the one that's going to get a lot of touches and control a lot of the flow of Flamengo. So that's the players to watch. I think this is going to be a battle in the midfield. Whoever wins that is going to control the game. And with that being said, might as well bring up our keys to the game.
Yeah, and by the way, Philly Georgian, the player in best form for Flamengo coming into this Club World Cup.
Yes.
13 goal contributions in 9 matches, including 9 goals in the top flight Serie A. So he is an absolute beast. I like Timmy Tillman. Hopefully we don't hate Timmy Tillman too much after this match. I got 2 keys to the match. The first of which is score a damn goal. Score a goal. That's a key. I don't care if we win or not. And more importantly,
I kind of do.
More importantly, leave it all in Orlando. If we're going to lose, let's lose 5-4. Let's lose 3-2. Let's lose giving it all. Let's lose by just throwing guys forward and attacking. Look, most of the ways that you can beat a Brazilian team is by attacking the attackers. Don't sit back and wait to counter. They're probably faster. Don't sit back and wait to counter. They're probably better in possession than we are. Attack. Attack, attack, attack. Leave it all on the floor in Orlando. I don't want to leave this match going, wow, we got held to 34% possession and had no progressive passes going forward and just looked absolutely dead on the offensive end. It can't just be Denis Bouanga. I'm really hoping what we see from David Martinez. Hopefully we have a healthy Nathan Ordaz. We don't know what's going on with Nate right now. Put the attack in gear. Let's go. Leave it all on the pitch in Orlando and score a damn goal.
I mean, I think we should just end it right there because you're right. The key to the game, score a damn goal. You got to keep the crowd as much out of it as you can. Like I said, there will be a heavier and predominantly Brazilian fan base there as opposed to black and gold. And anybody who's there from LAFC, DM us, show us like your version of it. If you want, like we could go live together. It'd be cool to see what it's like from your vantage point. Because anytime the Brazilian teams have played, they have really packed the stadiums and created an awesome, awesome atmosphere. I already talked about my players to watch. Georgian de Arrasqueta, another player that's really going to be a big part is their captain. In Portuguese, Gerson's pronounced Gerson, but when you said Gerson, I thought of Gelson's, and now I'm hungry. So thank you very much. As far as LAFC is concerned, again, I said it. They need to control the tempo of this game. You brought up a lot of points. They're faster. I would say in a lot of cases, they're stronger. They're more experienced and quite honestly, just a better run of form. LAFC might sit back and look to absorb all of the possession and then beat them on a counter, but I don't think that this is going to be the type of strategy you're going to want against a team that's heavy possession based. They weren't heavy possession based against Chelsea, but they also didn't start out very well either, as Chelsea scored the first goal against them. But the grit and the determination they had, once they scored the equalizer, then it was just all downhill from there, ending up 3-1. So getting 1 goal or 2 goals is not going to be enough to save our hides. We're going to need to absolutely control possession and just take them out of their game. Believe it or not, we need to slow things down. We're not a club that likes to slow things down. We're a club that likes to go out there and attack. That's been the philosophy of the club since going back to 2018. I just don't think you do it against a team like Flamengo. So control the midfield. That'll be your way to possibly winning this game.
I love it. Philly says slow down. I say speed up. This is why you get the good content here on Defenders of the Bank. We don't always have to agree. Look, bottom line is I think we score. I think we score twice. And maybe we score twice after going down 2-0 and Flamengo removes a lot of their better players. Maybe we go back and forth and this is a fun one and it's 2-1 and then 2-2. It could be a lot of different ways. I got bamboozled last match by being as bullish as I think I've been all season on LAFC, and LAFC told me where I could stick it. And so I hear you. I hear you, LAFC. I said 3-0 last match, and we couldn't get 3
You say
shots.
3-1 the first match?
I said 2-1 Chelsea, I think. Or no, did I say 2-1?
I don't remember. You had a 3-1 at some point.
I said 3-0, and we couldn't get 3 shots on target. That's the sad part. So I'm going with a 2-2 draw in this one, and that would be a best case scenario as far as I am concerned. I think if LAFC can figure out how to hold the draw on this one, I would be as excited as possible. Ruben, they're talking about bringing Brian back somehow. I mean,
also talking about Denny Bouanga going to Club America for around $12 million.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chatter on social media about that one.
There's a lot of things going on right now. The transfer window obviously opens up July 1st, so we'll see what happens. It's going to be really interesting.
$12 million for Denny, yay or nay?
Oh, no, not at all. $12 million for Denny? No, that's our season right there. We might as well. I don't care about Javier Dilrosun. He's not Denny Bouanga.
No, definitely not.
I wouldn't do it. But look, the club has done other things that I wouldn't have done. Walker's
$12 million is a lot of money, though, Scarf.
12 million is a lot of money. Is Club America the move, by the way, that Denny Bouanga would have wanted to make? I don't know.
Denny Bouanga wants to make money. And to me, Denny Bouanga needs to go where they want to pay him the most money. Club America wants to pay him the money. Anyway, that's actually a topic. I'm sorry for a whole nother day.
That's okay. I just wondered, did he even get a say? We'll see. Philly, your turn.
So I've been very optimistic as well about LAFC's performance. I did think we would beat Esperance. I don't recall what I said against Chelsea. Oh, no, I thought we would win 2-1. So in this case, maybe it's opposite day. I'm going to go with Flamengo. A lot of it is contingent upon who starts the game and who ends up finishing it. Again, they're going to win the group no matter what. They have nothing to lose. And players, very important and impactful players that are on that yellow card accumulation that probably need to be a little less aggressive. But either way, I do think that top to bottom, they are the better squad. And if they just play their game, they win 2-1. I think it's going to start with LAFC scoring the first goal of the game, though. I do believe that we're finally going to get one. And then from there, that grit that we saw from Flamengo against Chelsea is going to come back and they're going to win 2-1. That's what I think. What I'm hoping in my heart is that we can come out with a dub, because right now what the world thinks is that Major League Soccer's best team is Inter Miami, considering that they came out and what a game they played against Palmeiras. Palmeiras came through in the last 10 minutes to end out with a draw, despite the fact that Inter Miami went up 2-0. Inter Miami looks like the best team out of Major League Soccer, which is kind of disappointing because they are not the best team as of right now in Major League Soccer. Seattle obviously out, and we need to do something to hold our heads up high. I want to see us win, but my gut tells me we lose 2-1.
I love it. Lafferty in the chat says, bring in Ronaldo. Why not? Look, I don't think it'll happen, but I like it. Philly, it's our last stand at the Club World Cup. Anybody traveling to Orlando, please enjoy the experience. Have as much fun as you possibly can in the House of the Mouse. Maybe you're deciding to make it a longer trip and hitting up Disney World and Epcot and everything else down there.
They have a Pele store in that little Disney village thing where you could get some really cool kits. I'd imagine that they have a lot of kits from the clubs that competed in the Club World Cup. So that's a place worth checking out if you're in that area. And they also have a really good whiskey bar in that area too. I forgot the name of it, but I had such a darn good time. No wonder I forgot the name of it.
Yeah. Look, for all of you guys traveling, enjoy. Have a wonderful time. I know that my seatmate, my buddy right behind me, Dario, will be there along with his son because they're playing his childhood and all-time favorite club in Flamengo. So it's got to be pretty cool for the Flamengo fans out there that are also LAFC supporters. It's going to be incredible. And then we've got a match against Vancouver on the 29th. That's
big game.
We finally get to go back to our regularly scheduled programming for Major League Soccer and end this potential nightmare that is the 2025 Club World Cup. I think we finally score. So does Philly. So it'll be a lot of fun. And we'll see. I've got 2-2. Philly's got 2-1 Flamengo, but it is heart 2-1 LAFC. And we appreciate everybody for digesting the Defenders of the Bank content, however it is that you do. More food talk is just going to make Philly hungry again. But that being said, y'all, love you guys. Thank you all so much. And you know how we like to end all these.
Bye-bye.